We begin this morning with breaking news. Here's a live look at Fort Myers, Florida, where President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden are expected to arrive in Florida any minute now to see firsthand the devastation caused by Hurricane Ian. They will be meeting with the victims as well as rescuers still looking for those missing. ABC's Rena Roy has more on the ongoing search and rescue efforts.
Drone footage of Fort Myers Beach shows just how widespread the devastation is.
Then one of the big giant yachts came and landed on my car. We had 14 feet of water down at my house. It's just never even occurred to us to get that high.
Joanne Semmer has lived in the area for 50 years and decided to ride out the storm.
We figured we'd get some of the storm, but not. We're ground zero, as you can see right here.
Search and rescue teams out in full force nearly a week after Hurricane Ian made landfall.
So far, we've done over 842 rescues. And unfortunately, we've had 55 total deaths in Lee County.
Thousands pulled from their destroyed homes and taken to shelters. Hundreds of thousands still without power. For some, it may be up to a month before their lights are back on. On the small island of Matlacha, just north of Sanibel, this is how people are getting from one side to the other.
This little boat's the only way on and off this road. Just jump on, you grab that rope on the other side and just
pull yourself over
across. That's it.
Access also making recovery especially difficult in places like Sanibel and Pine Island. Their causeways destroyed. Crews now working on temporary bridge fixes.
Some of those folks were told that they're going to have to get off the island, but that's not the way they live. And we're going to have that bridge on Pine Island patched this week.
President Biden will be visiting the area on Wednesday to tour the destruction himself and meet with the people here who have been affected. Rena Roy, ABC News, Fort Myers, Florida.
Thank you. And Denver 7 wants to help too because it's going to be a very long recovery process for the millions impacted. Multi-billion dollars worth of damage on top of everyday expenses. So Denver 7 is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for Hurricane Relief. You can make a donation by texting STORM to 50155 and following the prompts. You can also scan the QR code on your screen right now or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief. And with that, more breaking news this morning as 4 astronauts are officially on their way to the International Space Station on a historic mission. The SpaceX rocket took off about an hour ago from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. On board, Nicole Mann, the first Native American woman to orbit. She's accompanied by a crew of astronauts from all over the world, including Russia and Japan. They also have something special on board. Coffee from Colorado, the best first ascent coffee made in Crested Butte. We are told the coffee is one of Nicole Mann's favorites. Aurora City officials are not moving forward with the 2 final candidates they selected in a national search for a new police chief. The announcement comes following public outcry when 2 white men were announced as the finalists. Denver 7's Veronica Costa has more on what community activists are asking for as the search for a new chief moves on.
This is exactly what the community wanted all along. Just days ago, we told you Aurora's Police Oversight Task Force wanted in on the search process, and now it seems it's going to have that opportunity. There were those 2 white men who were the finalists, and just yesterday we heard one of them ended up dropping out of the running to be Aurora's next police chief. There have been so many conversations with city as well as community leaders and now city staff saying, you know what, we're going to start the process all over again, right from scratch. Because of so much controversy that's been going on, of course, Aurora saying they want a police chief who really represents and reflects the community that they're going to serve. We spoke with someone over at the NAACP who told us right now this really is all about involving the community.
It's not a partisan issue. We're talking about an American issue. We're talking about a community issue. So it should not even be a fight that the community is involved in the conversation.
And for some more context, the city spokesperson told us there were 21 people who applied for the top cop job within a 2-month span. Of those 21 people, 7 were either women or people of color. And now the big question is Aurora going to go with that same recruitment agency that it went with to find this pool of people? Is it even going to look at that initial pool, or is it going to say, you know what, let's just start with the fresh one? Those are the questions we have this morning. We're in Aurora. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, Veronica, thank you. Last night, there was another push by parents in the Jeffco School District to stop the closure of 16 elementary campuses. Now parents want the district to come up with a new plan. Right now, district officials say schools on the closure list have fewer than 220 students enrolled or were using less than 45% of their building's capacity. The plan is to merge them with other nearby schools. But at a PTA meeting for Kohler Strand Elementary School in Wheat Ridge, leaders pledged to keep fighting.
I get that there's a shortfall, but I think closing 16 at one time is a huge undertaking.
There's not a single community member at any of these 16 schools that are being recommended for closure and consolidation that want their school to close. Nobody wants to close schools.
The school board is scheduled to vote on the current recommended closures November 10th. And at that November 10th meeting, board members will vote to start phase 2, deciding on secondary schools, which includes K through 8 schools. Phase 2 is expected to begin in January for recommended closures in the fall of 2023. But these decisions aren't just happening in Jefferson County. Denver Public Schools started a declining enrollment advisory committee last school year. DPS says its enrollment has dropped by 3,600 students between 2019 and 2021. School board members are using 3 criteria to decide which schools in that district close. They're looking at which schools have critically low enrollment, which ones are likely to continue to decline, and which charter schools are not financially solvent. Schools could be identified this school year, but closures wouldn't happen until the end of next school year. All right, new this morning, home prices are still going up in the Denver metro. The September housing sales report just released overnight shows there are more listings but fewer closings. Mortgage rates and prices are high, so be ready to negotiate.
Now buyers are able to negotiate on price, appraised value, and inspection items. They can even start asking for credits back from a seller to help buy down their points for their interest rate.
This morning, Bloomberg reports mortgage rates jumped to a 16-year high of 6.75%, marking the 7th straight week of increases. Now, before you buy something online, take a moment to do some research. A new report being released today by the Better Business Bureau shows online scams are growing, and more than half of the reported scams the scammer claimed to be from a legitimate organization. In 24% of the cases, they offered a great price for something. I don't think you're safe on social media.
A lot of us are scrolling through. We feel a little bit comfortable on social media because we're seeing our friends and our family. A lot of people think that because they're seeing an ad on Facebook or Instagram, it must be reputable. But in fact, that's where a lot of scams are occurring.
And also be careful who you respond to on text message. Scammers know more and more companies are asking you to confirm appointments or answer surveys or click links. So scammers are using text messages too. The median loss on text message scams is high, $800. Now, if you've gotten a ticket in the last few years, you know how expensive they can be. Well, if you have an outstanding court case or even a warrant in Commerce City, today is Fresh Start Day.
You know, it's been a tough few years. There's a lot of people who've fallen behind. They've missed opportunities to interact with the court. And so this is a great opportunity both for the community and for those working at the court to clean up some loose ends and move ahead.
While you still have to pay restitution, court fees, and surcharges, the Commerce City Municipal Courts will cut the fees in half for the Fresh Start program. If you can't make it to the courthouse today, they're doing it again on the 19th. More and more bear sightings are happening this time of year. That's why the Douglas County Sheriff is urging you to be bear aware after spotting one in a Highlands Ranch neighborhood. CPW and West Metro Fire were busy yesterday rescuing this bear on your screen from a tree in the Ken Carroll neighborhood. Plus, this bear fell asleep in a tree at Puma Run and MacArthur Ranch Road. The Douglas County Sheriff tweeted that the bear was so sleepy because it ate a large quantity of fermented apples. All right, your Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow night at Empower Field. The game is here on Denver 7, but the list of injured players is growing. Right now, there are 12 players on the injured list and 2 more on injured reserve, which means They're out for this season. One of them is running back Javonte Williams. Quarterback Russell Wilson is currently on the injured list with a sore right shoulder. That's his throwing arm, very concerning, but he says he's definitely playing tomorrow night because he wants to win.
There's a lot of teams that are 2-2. There's a lot of teams, there's a handful of teams that are 3-1, and we're right in striking distance. We got them right where we want them, so we got to go get it.
During Sunday night's game against the Las Vegas Raiders, Javonte Williams and outside linebacker Randy Gregory suffered knee injuries. Williams has been one of Russell Wilson's favorite go-to guys during the first 3 games of the season. You can watch the Broncos Colts primetime game tomorrow night right here on Denver 7. Pre-game coverage starts at 5 p.m. Kickoff is just after 6, and the big post-game show will be right after. The game also means a programming change for your favorite ABC shows. You can watch the Thursday night premieres of Station 19, Grey's Anatomy, and Alaska Daily here on Local 3, starting at 7. All right, the flakes are falling at the highest peaks in the high country, what the snowpack looks like so far in Summit County, and when skiers could be hitting the slopes for opening day. Plus, with colder weather making its way here, the dirty scam to look out for when it comes to your utility bills.